Hello, and welcome to Critical Conversations. I'm just going to check my mic because that's what we do now. It is on. Yes, it is on. All right. How are you guys? I'm so excited to be here today. There's a lot of really fun things that are coming down the pipeline here on the podcast, and I want to talk about those really quick before we get into today's topic, which is all about perfectionism. And it's such a beautiful time, I think, to have this conversation. But before we do that, here's what I want to tell you. We have some amazing guests coming up. So I want to make sure you're subscribed, you're following, you're paying attention, because we have Renee with Renee Anderson. She's a Wild Oregon Girl on Instagram. She travels all over the state, and she's going to be coming on and talking about travel tips and different things about how to organize, what to pack. And so she's going to just help us kind of get prepared for the best summer yet. Couple episodes after that, we have Ashley Yates coming on. We're going to dive into some deep money conversations. This is something I've personally experienced, and I know that Ashley has a bunch of clients who've also experienced it. Money and relationships. So you have a partner, you have money, and you might not be sharing all the nitty-gritty details of it. So we're going to get into what she's noticing as far as like financial well-being. As far as women are concerned, I think that women hold a lot of guilt and shame. So that's going to be an epic conversation. Couple episodes after that, my friend Vanessa, who owns Zen Yoga in Nicaragua, is going to be joining us and talking about, what her life was like going from living in the States to moving and growing a family and a business in a foreign country. And just kind of have a beautiful conversation around one of my favorite places in the entire world. We have Chiara Foy coming on, and we're going to deep dive some women health things. So if you are in your 40s going into 50, maybe even 50 going into 60, there are some really strange things that happen hormonally, especially when it comes to sex. So that topic is going to be so fun. You guys do not want to miss it. I'm personally very excited about that one. And then we have Chrissy Williams coming back and Morgan Lewis coming back to talk about different hormone therapies. They're both actually, Kiara, Chrissy, and Morgan are all, holistic health nutritionists. They help you get back on track. They do different blood tests, different hair and stool sample testing to really get you to feel your best. And the reason I've brought these three unique individuals in is because I don't think that there's a one size that fits all. And so I think it's good to know that, like, there are other options out there. So I'm hoping that one of these three amazing nutrition, health guru help you feel better, help you lose weight, help your hormones get in balance, prepare for the next stages of life. Hopefully one of what they're sharing is going to resonate with you, and you're going to go hire them, and then you're going to start to feel really, really good. Because the one thing that I know is really important, and it's something that I work on with my clients, is it's that you can't just have the mindset, or you can't just have the physical well-being. It's the mind, the body, and the spirit all have to kind of commingle. And so it's about getting the holistic, whole body wellness. And I really believe in the work that these individuals do, all of them really. So I'm really excited. Hopefully nothing happens to those episodes and I didn't just lie to you. But as of right now, that's what we have coming up as far as interviews and guests on Critical Conversations. And that honestly takes us through to September, which is just mind-blowing to think that that's how organized I am. I know you guys are shocked. So anyways, with that being said, I'm really excited for these conversations. If there are somebody that you know, or you're like, dang, I want to get on there, just send me a DM, send me a text, send me an email, and let's talk, and let's see if you have something to share here on Critical Conversations, because the whole concept here isn't just so that you guys are hearing my voice, but that we're sharing other small businesses in different areas of the world doing different things. This is all about helping you live better ultimately. So with that being said, hopefully everything goes as scheduled. It's been a little bit challenging technology. If you've been hanging out with me for a hot second, you know that I've had a lot of podcasts not come through. So fingers crossed that all these conversations go as scheduled, as planned, and we have some epic things coming for you. With that being said, we are moving on. Today, I am talking about the pressure of perfectionism. And I think that this is such a timely thing to talk about. I've been having a lot of private one-on-one conversations with different clients, and it's challenging right now. I think a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed by AI. I think a lot of people are feeling pressure to compete with an algorithm that they don't understand, that's changing constantly, and that maybe doesn't always feel good, And so what I want to talk about is the pressure of it and how do we release this? So, if you imagine your life, your business, whatever it is, and you're, trying to just keep up with the Joneses, right? I think is the saying. And it's bullshit. I mean, honestly, like that's where my head goes initially, because I think that it's exhausting to try and constantly push yourself to fit in. And I think right now what we're seeing on social media and even with email marketing. So I've been leaning in hardcore to email marketing, in-person networking events, shaking hands with people. Like you guys know that this is where I'm headed, because I too am tired of trying to identify with the algorithm. It seems like you pour your heart and soul into a post or into an email just for it to hit the spam or to be battling, all these other hot trends that you may have just missed because you're actually trying to run your business and do the business side of your business. I think social media is amazing. It's a beautiful platform for a lot of people to make a lot of money, but it changes constantly. And so it can actually do more damage in the realm of trying to keep up with what's changing on it. And the same thing with emails. I use Constant Contact. I don't actually know why I use it beyond that's the platform I used when we were back when I was the education director for dance in the state of Oregon. When I was working with that team and on that board, we used Constant Contact. So, that was like 10 years ago now, probably. So maybe it's the wrong system for me. However, I understood it. It's easy. It's not super expensive. And so I've been using it, and they too have had all these changes, and I'm noticing a lot more of my emails are hitting spam folders. So it's frustrating, and I've sat here at this very desk, looked at my laptop and been like, do I hunt down how to improve it? Do I hire somebody to improve it? Or do I just keep doing what I know to do and try and understand to the best of my ability? I mean, I think you can sit at your computer and you can dive down this rabbit hole trying to fix all these things or try to understand or chase a better outcome. But I don't know if that's beneficial, because it takes you away from all the work that you do know is working. And so I think that this is an interesting time for people to get more curious about what is working versus trying to chase things that maybe are or maybe are not working as well and understand them fully. So what do I mean when I say that? I mean, if you're sitting here, so let's just say I have an email list of 1,000 people. I'm typing out my email, I'm sending, I'm batching them, whatever. Emails go out and I'm at about 50% open rate, right? So 50% of my email list is opening it. And it says, find out how to avoid this or how to increase this, right? You get all these spam emails yourself, and they're like telling you, here's how to make it better. Here's how to do this. And so do you take the time to go on those rabbit holes Or do you say the 50% I'm getting is enough? Do you take a little bit of time? I mean, for me, it's like if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. And so this is this hot topic of perfectionism. So do you avoid it? Or do you dig in? And then how far do you go? Like, how much are you willing to change? How much energy and effort do you put into it? And for me, I'm not a super tech savvy person. And so I get a little overwhelmed when I am looking at all this information and all these things. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is beyond my scope of understanding. So it's like, yeah, all right, I'm going to open this email. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to try to increase my open rate, get these emails out of going to spam boxes, start inboxing them. And then I get to a point in that rabbit hole where I don't have the technology understanding or when I went on there, I was like, I don't even know what this means. And then I'm watching YouTube videos trying to figure it out. And then what's the percentage possibility that I fuck it all up? And then I'm like way backwards because now instead of my 1,000 emails having a 50% open rate, I've just fucked the whole thing up. And now I don't even have an email list or something. So I think that we're in this era of like, how much is too much? And again, like, when's it going to change again? Is it going to change again in a month? And then I'm chasing that. And so I think for me, instead of going down these rabbit holes and trying to get my emails, in people's inboxes and increase that percent, I kind of am at the point where I'm like, I'm just going to have the conversation with people. Hey, when you join my email list, add my email to your address book, right? Be on the lookout. If you don't see it in your inbox, check your junk or spam folder. Like, I think that there's a way to be more proactive than reactive. And I think the proactivity is understanding what you have control over. I really don't have control over an algorithm. I could chase it. I could do my best, which I'm always an advocate of. Best, doing your best is better than done perfectly. Like, putting it out there is better than waiting for it to be perfect. I'm a firm believer in that. Like, just get it done and you improve over time. But I think like if I release this desire to chase the perfection of how do I make my email marketing perfect, and instead I cling to having these real conversations with people. Oh, I see you just signed up for my email. I'm so excited to have you here. Be sure to check your spam and junk folders. My emails are usually out every Sunday, right? Like, so it's like I can be proactive in a way that feels more empowering and invigorating for me, and I'm thinking too, also like the new followers you get, the new, email lists people you get, the new clients you get, like, they do want your information. So like, in a way, it kind of turns the responsibility onto them to seek you out, right? That's why, like, when you press subscribe, it's awesome because the algorithm knows, oh, she wants more of it. And so it's like, how do you empower your people, your followers, your clients, your friends, your family? How do you empower them to support the algorithm in your favor? And I think that those are the conversations I'd rather lean into. I really don't care that my email looks funky coming to you now. And I really am like, it's a bummer that it's hitting a lot of spam and junk folders, but like, I also have this deep trust in the universe that the right people are going to seek it out. And the right people are going to have a desire to hear what I have to say. And I don't want to just be spamming people. So if you really don't want my content, then that's okay. And so I think that when we think about fighting these algorithms, instead of thinking it's this giant beast in front of us, I think the beast is understanding what you have control over. And so when you're looking at your life, when you're looking at your business, when you're looking at the areas that feel overwhelming, the questions you need to be asking, where you need to draw more curiosity, is how do I want this to look? What's the most important thing? Is it more important for it to get at, for the information to go out, or that the information goes out perfectly? And I think most people get stuck somewhere in between those. And that's what I want to talk about. So what is getting in the way of it just going out? How can you buy into done is better than perfect? I think this is where we get really foggy in life in general, because this is where we don't live, because it's not perfect. If I don't have the perfect outfit, I can't go on that date. If I don't have the perfect car, then I can't show up at this event. If I don't have, the perfect hairdo, then I'm not going outside today. If I don't have the matching whatever, it's like we buy into these ideas that it has to be a certain way, and that is a control issue. That is a desire to control. And instead of getting stuck in that desire for it to be the way that you want it to be in your head, this is where I want you to get more curious about, well, what if I just push through? I did it anyways. I'm uncomfortable because it's not the way that I thought it was going to be, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to open myself up to it being even better. I mean, the most perfect example of this, I think, is when I look at my relationship with Nigel. I had this concept in my head of how it should be. And that concept was this desire for it to be a very specific way. And those specifications were based on information I had gotten from other people. So this was my childhood, my conditional learning from school, my conditional learning from, the media, TV, movies, right? Disney princess, knight in shining armor, right? So I had this idea based on what I perceived to be the ideal relationship. That's control. I'm trying to hold on to this very specific outcome. And what I'm asking you to do when you're looking at perfectionism is to get more curious about, am I trying to control this? Or am I really open for it to be what it's meant to be? And this is like where I love the work of Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Such a great book. He has multiples, and it's all about that release and that, like, I don't know what it's actually going to look like. And so I think for me, when I look, this is just like a grand slam example for you guys. This is like one of many things where I've worked through my desire to control and my conditioning. But it's the moment I dropped this quote unquote idea, I opened up the possibility for it to be even better. And I have to tell you, and I know I've said this before on this podcast, I have to tell you, what I thought was possible for my life, like the goal that I had in my head when I got married in 2011, I am like eons beyond that in a world that I never even fucking knew existed. And I'm not saying it was easy to get there. It was hell to get here. I mean, call my best friend and ask her and be like, bro, how was it for Karissa? And she will tell you it was the most treacherous few years of my life trying to get to this place. But it was this internal battle because both Nigel and I had to fight through our conditions and what we believed and what we thought we needed from each other. And so thank God he committed to do that work with me. Thank God that he was like, okay, like we're committed to each other. We're going to fight for our marriage. We're going to fight for our relationship. And we're going to do that by breaking down all these ideas and all these idealism and all these like, you know, concepts that have been pushed upon us, and we're going to actually get curious about what it could be for us. And it's so much better. I mean, you know, most of my private clients know this story of, you know, I really like grew up in the church, and I grew up believing that it had to be X, Y, and Z, and you check all the boxes and that's it. And you just give thanks, and like, that's as good as it needs to get. And so I really had to break down these religious barriers and these beliefs of these Disney princess ideas. And I had to get more curious about, okay, well, that's not happening. So what could it be? And instead of trying to create it with my mind, I started to just play and experiment and see what was possible. And I think that the relationship I have now, it's not perfect. It never will be. But that's what makes it so perfect now, is because I've released this desire to control it. And so when you release the desire of it needs to be X, Y, and Z, I got to check all these particular boxes, you know, blah, 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 blah. When you release the checklist and you release the desire of control, you actually really open yourself up for anything to be possible. And this is where I think the magic of present, not perfect, the magic of done is better than perfect. This is where your like shoulders drop down and you find a little bit more grace for yourself, because you realize that you did it. And what you are going to get back from it doesn't even matter anymore, because it's done. And there's something about that sweet spot where it feels better to just be like, hey, at least I tried. And it may not have been like as great as I wanted it to be, but that's okay, because I learned something and now I can improve. Nigel has a famous quote. All of his employees have it in their email signature line. I might butcher it, but it is, we're better now than we were. Now we have to do better than we are today, or something like that. But essentially it's saying like every day you get to be better. Every day you get to be better. Every day you improve a little bit because you have more information. So when I started to break down these barriers, when Nigel started to break down his barriers, when we stopped expecting certain things from each other, you know, he had expectations. He had his expectations of what he thought I should be doing, and I had those expectations of what I thought he should be doing. And so when we started to break that down and we started to just get more curious about, who are you? How do you want to show up in this relationship? What makes sense for you? What's going to feel best for you? That is when the magic really started to happen. And now it's like I look at what I have in my life, and I have this partner who I couldn't have even dreamt him up if I tried. Is he perfect? No. He could lose some weight, work on his figure a little bit. You know, he could definitely de-stress himself a little bit more. He could definitely be more present with his family. You know, he could definitely have more boundaries around work. But like at the end of the day, when I stopped expecting and trying to control those things in him, it's like my shoulders dropped. And I was able to just enjoy him for who he was, because I wasn't trying to make him fit a mold and be perfect, and vice versa. There were things, you know, he had to like break down the fact that I'm never going to fucking fold the laundry as soon as the dryer dings. I'm just not going to, you know, and that I'm always going to want to do the dishes after dinner, because I really like waking up to a clean kitchen. You know, and so it's like, we started to get to know each other. And then it's like we create support systems around how we can best be together, right? Like he hates social media. So he's loving the fact that I'm off social media right now. And so I think that when you stop expecting it to be perfect, when you stop trying to control the outcome and make it perfect, you open yourself up for more support. So it's like Nigel got curious about certain things that I was doing, and instead of arguing with me because he wanted me to be doing something different, he started to just help me. Like now he helps do dishes, you guys. Not always, but he helps, or he'll help, take the garbage out, or he'll do something else because he knows, okay, she's going to want to do the dishes right after dinner. So what can I do? And then together we all are going upstairs at the same time. So, I think when you're looking at your business, when you're looking at your life, when you're looking at manifesting, whatever it is that you're trying to create in your life, where are you holding on to the control or the idea that it needs to be a certain way? And how can you release that? How can you get more curious about who you are and what's most important to you? How can you release the desire for it to look and be a very specific way, and maybe open yourself up to it potentially being better than you thought? What needs to shift? Where can you express yourself more authentically? I think a lot of us get stuck in this perfectionism. I think it's easy to, want to control the outcome. The other area we get stuck is we're afraid of, there's so many things, but we're afraid of being successful. We're afraid that it won't work. We're going to fail. We're afraid to be seen. We're afraid to receive what we actually want because we have a worthiness issue. So perfectionism isn't just about control. I think a lot of it is control, but a lot of it is these other areas where we're really just scared to death of what could happen. And so we get stuck in the perfectionism and we stay in our own way trying to control the outcome, because if we let go, we don't know what's going to happen. And it could be better or it could be worse. And we could get judged for it. People could make fun of us. There's so much there. And I know for me, I've worked through this worthiness piece. It's been a very hot topic, in marriage counseling, being worthy of receiving Nigel's love and support just because I exist. And I remember when I was in Morocco, I did an experience, couple different things where I just received these beautiful offerings from other people just because. And I remember being overwhelmed with such deep gratitude and crying and having this out of body experience, because I don't know what unconditional love feels like. So am I sabotaging myself in my work or in my life because I'm afraid to receive something so good? Yeah, probably. There's some shit there. And so the thing is, the reason you're not as successful in your life or your business, the reason your relationship is as, head buddy as it feels, the reason you're not doing the consistency, the reason you're not determined, the reason you're not showing up, the reason you can't be accountable to the things you know how to do, how to fucking do them, but you're not doing it. There's trauma there and there's healing there, and you have to unpack it so that you can push through the desire for it to be perfect and you just can get it done. There's shit there for all of us. I'm really good at being accountable and showing up for my work. I'm not really good at receiving help and support. I tend to sabotage myself because I don't think that I'm worthy of receiving just to receive. So I get in my own way and sabotage it before it's even a fucking possibility. So where are you getting in your own way? What's your lesson? What's your perfectionism that you have to overcome? Because everyone has it. Everyone has it. Might be that you don't leave the house without having makeup on. It might be your consistency in your marketing and your business. It might be hiring somebody. It might be firing somebody. It might be starting the business that you want. It might be asking for the help, hiring the therapist, hiring the coach. It might be in your relationship, asking for what you actually need and actually want. I mean, this is like deep-rooted stuff. This is not something that a 30-minute podcast can fix. This is life's work. This is about getting curious. This is about understanding that your life can continually get better. Yes, it's better than it was, but it can keep getting better. And that's something I know to be true because every day I learn something that makes me better than I was yesterday. And it's all about the implementation, of that. And the understanding. And not giving any more fucks. I think that was like one of the biggest things I had to overcome early on was stop giving a fuck about what other people think, about what other people say, all the judgments, release it, let it go, time to move on. This is my story, my book. You don't like it, you don't have to be in it, and you definitely don't have to read it. There's plenty of other things out there for other people to focus on. So, all right. I think that's all. We're at our 30-minute mark right now. I don't want to keep going. If this conversation was intriguing to you, definitely let me know, reach out. It's a hot topic. A lot of people come to me and they want help in business or with relationships. And we kind of have to go here. We kind of have to look at where we're clinging and where we're being reactive and how we can push through, because it's really, nothing's perfect. And I think that this ties into all the things that I always say. Like if we're going to be honest, nobody's life is perfect. Everyone has shit. It's all just a matter of choose your crazy. What makes sense for you? Because it's all a little bit out there. It's just about picking the thing that makes sense for you and knowing who you are and doing that unapologetically and knowing that it's never perfect. The email will never be perfect. The social media post will never be perfect. The relationship will never be perfect, but it's about what's perfect for you. It's perfect for me. Nigel is perfect for me. I think our counselor, I'll finish with this. One of the favorite things that our marriage counselor ever said to me was, you guys deserve each other. We both laughed, and it's true. We do. And, you deserve to have somebody who can laugh at that statement with you. And you deserve the business that feels really good in the same way. All right. Love you guys. See you on the next conversation.